Here's something nobody's talking about. What do you do when you're over your old plant project? Whoa, damn, look at these roots. Officially, like, do I put them outside? No, because they're definitely gonna die. I did it for a fact. Do you just keep them in the corner and just let them be? No, because they're gonna get wild and untamed. I'm gonna give you all a solution today. But first we need supplies. So step one, you're gonna need some chicken wire like this. I prefer the 4 feet by 5 feet. And look, this is the tightly bound one. The squares are really small. You're gonna need some chicken wire cutters because we gotta cut this thing up. Some zip ties. I choose a 100 pack because this is gonna be a project that I'm gonna be doing a lot more of. Side note, it's an investment. Just get the 100 pack, make it easy. Some gloves because we don't have time to poke our fingers. A new bucket, okay, new pot with drainage holes. And some sphagnum moss. Yes, we are creating a huge moss pole and we're putting all 3 of those plants on there. All right, let's get it. Step 1. In creating our moss pole, we must lay down, all right, with a little mat. Got this off of Amazon. Step 2, take the moss out of the bag. I like to use a container to soak it in, so I'm taking out the bag and I'm gonna dump it inside this container. And then you're going to soak it. And the reason why we wanna wet it, it says 10 times easier to work with when we're putting it in the moss pole. When it's not wet, it's all flaky and dry. When it's soaked, it's just 10 times easier to work with. So soak it, you guys. So while the sphagnum moss is soaking, it's time to open this thing up. So before we put our gloves on, let's take off this protective wrapper. You see right here. Ugh. All right, this is where the wire cutters come into play. We gotta cut this wire. Hence, these wires come into play. Aha, success. Now here's the next challenging part. How thick or how much girth do you want in your moss pole? I prefer, you know, we'll say about a handful right here. We're gonna go with this amount. So I'm gonna cut a straight line down here with this thickness. That makes sense? I mean, we can go smaller, we can go wider, we can go smaller, we can go wider, but I like to choose around this much. See, they're just cutting like butter, honestly. But be sure to make a straight line. We're gonna do this all the way down here. Now, if you're wondering when to use gloves, right now! Look how sharp this is. So here's our next step. I've cut it all down and it is like razor sharp. So yeah, that's why these gloves are coming in handy. And we want to kind of bend it to, you know, angle it to start to curve because we want to be sure it's easier when we start adding the moss in here. But we want to bend it first. And you might be like, why don't they just order on Amazon? Which I have, but now I want to make tall moss poles, and let me tell you guys, it's just gonna be easier and cost effective just to make another one of these because I have so much extra. Let me show y'all. Look how much extra I have. So when they outgrow this, I'm just gonna create another one. Simple, y'all. Now back to this moss, it's time to drain it and bring it over to start applying it. So I'm about to drain it right now. Now it is time to put this moss in this pole. Now I got some protection. Take some, and you're literally gonna just fill it in. Kind of like making a big old burrito. Fill it in. Gonna take some, fill it in down here. You see? The key is we're gonna fill this all up with moss. And I'm gonna share with y'all a fun fact about these moss poles. I used to be so anti-moss pole. I was like, oh, I'm team cedar plank. I'm only gonna use cedar planks. Now, here I am making custom over 5 feet tall moss poles because in reality, every situation is different. I know some people are like, oh, cedar plank only or only team moss pole, but I have learned in my, plant journey, every situation is different. There's no right or wrong answer. I'm definitely not gonna put a moss pole outside on my monsteras. And you know, indoors, cedar planks really didn't work that well. So it's a give or take. Every situation is gonna be different, but they both were great. It's kind of like, you know, food. Some people prefer other things than others, but at the end of the day, we're all gonna get full. So it's just so funny. So as you guys see, I'm, you know, just making sure it's evenly dispersed all throughout here before I add the zip ties, but I wanna make sure it's all evenly dispersed. Next up are zip ties. Time to bust this bag open and just do a final check to make sure that all of them are evenly dispersed by doing a quick squeeze check. So everything is checking out. Now it's time to zip tie it all. Okay, we're definitely gonna need our gloves on for this. We're gonna need our zip ties at the same time. So this first zip tie is gonna be our gauge to like make it tight. So I'm gonna do this. Just gonna hold it together. We're gonna make it tighter, but this is gonna be our marker. For it all. Perfect. So this zip tie is gonna be our marker, so it's easier to tie all of them together. That's why you do it in the middle, so then you can kind of track everything. Okay, here's an update. You see this section is pretty much done, but now I'm working towards this area, but we're keeping it tight. It is complete. Now, let's chop these off. Okay, next, we're going to secure the moss pole in the center, and we're going to use zip ties to zip tie these holes. And this is a size 2, by the way, if you guys want to know. So I did 2 of them. I zip tied the drainage holes to the moss pole inside. See right here, I have 2 more left. Now, I have to cut the zip ties at the bottom, but as you see, I have a secure pot on my moss pole. Secure! Now it's time to repot. First step, lay it down. Pat, pat, pat. We're gonna pull it out. Nice. And now we're gonna break these roots up. Let's break them up. Separate the 2 plants. Take it off. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Easy. Unravel this. Unravel this. Okay, there's one more. Take this. Oh, so it kind of stuck. Well, no, it didn't. This is still usable. And we have a third. We're gonna lay this down. You know the drill. Smash that pot. Smash it, smash it, smash it. Pull out game is, whoa. Hashtag root bound. I mean, yeah. When it was time, I mean, it was time. Look at this, almost like a rock. Overdue. I mean, damn, look at these roots. Sheesh. She was due for an upgrade. I'm gonna take this pink princess, 1, 2, 3 pothos, and plant them in here. Okay, so step 1, we have to backfill. So what I'm gonna do, I have some fresh chunky soil mix ready, and let's backfill. Matter of fact, excuse my hands. Okay, Okay. If it doesn't get over the place, it doesn't belong in your face. All right, now that we're backfilled, let's start angling and planning around where we're gonna put these pothos. Okay. Number one, this one can go right here. This next one can go right here. Yep. Perfect, perfect. I'm thinking pothos. I'm just thinking color options. And then we're gonna do the other one right here. And then put the pink princess right here. Perfection. Now let's backfill again. I'm using my hands because it makes it easier. And yeah, it's gonna get a little dirty, but when has that ever been an issue? So backfilling, and then we're gonna tape up the leaves. But this is the perfect solution for any project that you're kind of over. Let's tap that pot, settle it down, continue to backfill. Here's what's next. We're gonna have them all using plant tape taped to this moss pole so that they can start growing huge leaves. So next up, planter's tape. I'm about to wrap them all around. After 5 hours, now I'm playing, I have officially completed the project. Now I want you guys to take note. I made sure that the area roots have contact with the moss pole because I want them to grow inside the moss pole and get larger leaves. And so all the roots down here are in soil and all the area roots are at top. So this is Operation Moss Pole Monster. And I want to show you guys, here's something to do with all your plants that, plant projects that you might get tired of. Put them all on a moss pole and watch them flourish. Here's the final step. This is where it's gonna stay. Boom. Just like that. And here we go. All right. So that's gonna conclude my video today. If you guys like my content, I have other videos. Go watch my other content. But like I always say, tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your auntie and uncle about my page. My name is Jason. Be sure to subscribe, drop a comment on something that you loved. And until next time, peace.